All right, let's get right into it. Today we are breaking down Rebecca Yarros' Onyx Storm, the book that didn't just climb the bestseller lists, it basically set them on fire.
So, we're talking about the third book in the Empyrean series, but honestly, it's way more than just a sequel at this point. This is a full-blown cultural moment that just exploded out of book talk and took over the entire world. And I'm not kidding when I say it took over. Onyx Storm sold 2.7 million copies in its first week. To put that in perspective, that makes it one of the fastest-selling adult novels in the last 20 years. It's huge.
But it's not just about dragons and romance, right? What really makes this series so compelling is that Yarros has built this incredibly dense, complex world. For a lot of people jumping in, it feels like a total whirlwind of information.
And look, you're not alone if you feel that way. As this fan on CBR said, it can be a lot to keep track of. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's cut through all that chaos and figure out what really goes down in Onyx Storm.
The entire book, and I mean the entire book, really hinges on this one single devastating problem that feels completely unsolvable. Okay, so if you remember from the end of the last book, Iron Flame, our hero Xaden Riorson did the one thing he swore he'd never do. To save Violet, the woman he loves, he reached down and pulled power straight from the earth and started turning into a venin, the very monster they fight. And that, right there, that's the gut-wrenching question at the heart of this whole story. Our main character, Violet Sorrengail, is now in a desperate race against time. She has to find a cure before the man she loves is completely lost to this darkness. This desperation sends Violet on a seriously dangerous quest. She's convinced the only hope lies with her special dragon, Andarna, and that kicks off a search for Andarna's long-lost relatives, this ancient mythical dragon breed called the Irids. Now, this isn't some simple journey. Following her dad's old research, Violet and her team have to basically commit treason, flying into this total unknown and trying to navigate these deadly new cultures and their politics. And this is where things get really interesting. Each of these islands is like its own deadly game show. You can't just walk up and ask for a meeting with the rulers. No, you have to survive a life or death trial that's dedicated to their specific god. And this just shows you how high the stakes are. Take the Isle of Dun, for example. You want to ask for help? Forget about diplomacy. You have to literally spill blood and fight for your life in a ritual combat just to prove you're worthy of asking. So after all that, after surviving all these insane trials, they lose friends, they get betrayed, and what do they get for it? Absolutely nothing. The quest is a complete and total failure. The Irids have no cure for Xaden, and they offer zero help for the war. But here's the twist. Even as the search for a cure out in the world fails, something starts to change inside Violet, hinting that maybe the answer was never out there to begin with. So we all know about her main power, right? The lightning she can wield, which is a gift from her dragon, Tarn. But now a second, way more mysterious power starts to show up, dreamwalking, a gift from Andarna. And the ancient Irids have a pretty ominous name for it. They call it much more dangerous. And get this, it's not just her allies who are seeing this potential in her. Even her enemies, the venin, recognize something else is going on. They tell her she has the power to command the sky itself. This has kicked off a massive theory among fans. What if her power isn't the typical magic that's channeled through a dragon? What if she's like the very first writers from the old stories and can pull power directly from the source, from the sky itself? So, defeated and with no answers, the team flies back home to their base, Eretia, only to find themselves in the middle of a massive venin attack. And what happens next is one of the most shocking, chaotic endings in modern fantasy. The last few hours of this book are an absolute whirlwind. In a very short time, Violet loses her second dragon, watches Xaden go full venin to save everyone, kills the enemy general, and then wakes up married to him, with absolutely no memory of how any of it happened. And just when you think it can't get any wilder, she finds out her friend Imogen is the one who erased her memories, but only because Violet begged her to. The mystery just gets deeper and deeper. So what does all this chaos mean? It means these shocking twists and this deep world building have fueled a massive, real-world cultural phenomenon that goes way beyond the page. You've got to remember, Onyx Storm is just past the halfway point. Yarros has a 5-book series planned,
which means the stakes, the betrayals, and the power levels, they are only going to get higher from here. And yeah, the world has definitely taken notice. This whole thing started as a viral sensation on BookTok. It became a commercial powerhouse, and now Amazon is adapting it into a major TV series. It's not just a book series anymore, it's a franchise.
It's really this perfect storm of deeply personal stakes, jaw-dropping reveals, and a world that just keeps getting bigger and more complex that has grabbed the attention of millions and made this D-fantasy series everyone is talking about. Which leaves us with one final thought. At one point, the Arets say something interesting, that maybe venin, offspring, could evolve. It just makes you wonder, what if the search for a cure was always the wrong path? What if the real answer has been inside Violet this whole time?